Jane, we should be live. Better turn the cameras on, eh? Let's see.
Let's
see
helpful.
if everyone can see and hear us. Good morning. Let's hope, eh? Let's hope.
Yes.
It's been a morning already, has it
yes.
not? We've had a busy one.
Wouldn't be Natasha Makes without it being a bit of a morning.
It's a Monday morning thing.
Monday, yeah.
Good morning and welcome, as Jane says, to Natasha Makes. We're not Natasha.
No, we're not, unfortunately.
We're not, but she's on her way.
Yes.
She is on her way, and she'll be shenanigating tomorrow and Wednesday for you. That's what she'll be doing.
She's got some gorgeous things.
She has. She really has. But today, Jane and I are getting all festive.
It's Christmas.
It's July, which in crafting tele world means
Christmas. Yeah.
We have Christmas in July. Why do we have Christmas in July? Well, so that you can get all the beautiful things, have all the time to make, and actually get it done for Christmas.
Yes.
Because as daft as you like, I plan these things every year, and I think I'll do it in October, November time. October, November time's crazy.
Yes, it is.
Kids are back to school or whatever else is going on, and I never get time, and then I end up Christmas Eve until 3 a.m. Christmas morning, gluing my Christmas crackers together, the pin flare ones.
Yes.
Yeah, 3 a.m. I finished those one year. Don't be like me, everybody. Buy your things now, make your Christmas items, get ahead of it all.
Put them somewhere safe and then forget where they are when it comes to December.
Yeah, exactly that, Jane. Well done, you. Brilliant. Let's check, shall we, that everyone can see and hear us, because it's always helpful, Jane. It really is. Oh, Sue saying good day all over on Facebook, so one would assume we can be seen. Jane Vivash says morning, and Auntie Lizzie says good morning, lovely peeps all. So I'm guessing you can hear us and see us. Danny's here as well. She says hi. Jimmy says good morning, everyone. So there are people watching, which is always good, and no one's saying can't hear you.
That's helpful.
Well,
and I think we've got the mics the right way round, so my voice is
nice
and loud.
We have. I don't know what happened last week.
I picked up the wrong one.
Yeah, and then I just picked the other one up and didn't even notice, which is never a thing. No. Never a thing. So I had the loud mic on and Jane had the quiet one.
And everybody thought my mic was switched off, which shows how quiet my voice is. And I don't think I'm speaking quietly. I think I speak quite loudly, but obviously because it's lower, I've got a lower tone of voice. I think that's what it is.
Well,
it's deeper.
You're more softly spoken than me. And Natasha does call me the Brian Blessed of the crafting world, which is really delightful. Cynthia's here on YouTube. She says greetings. She's here from Ohio, Ohio, Cynthia.
Hi.
I have to say it because Natasha's not here.
Yes.
She always says it. Daryl says, hi guys, I've made it on time today. Well, well done you, Daryl. Your Monday morning is going better than ours then. Oh, Karen says, good morning, ladies. Just got my cat toy makes and have got orders. Have a great week. We will have a great week. We're going to make sure we do.
Yes.
And Becky says, good morning and Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yes.
Jane
the first.
The entire weekend singing, it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas, to the point where her poor husband...
He's not a Christmas person at the best of times, and he was like, will you stop now? Will you stop?
No. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas in July. Yeah, it is. I love Christmas. You love Christmas.
I do. I love a bit of Christmas. I love sparkly.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. But you do need to get ahead on your makes. You do.
Because otherwise it's too stressful.
But these are not time-consuming makes.
No, these are nice makes. These are nice, simple makes, yeah.
And these are ones that you can get cracking, get them done, and enjoy them.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
Jane, there's a whole...
We have a plethora.
I love very plethora. Plethora. I was there with various different adjectives, and I went with plethora as well. Amazing. Yeah. We have a plethora of items, all of which are fantastic. So, yeah, they're Lewis and Irene, aren't they, today?
Yes, beautiful Lewis and Irene fabrics.
They are.
We have got this gorgeous... We've had the Tom Tain collection before. This is a quilt panel.
It is.
It's
a yard, isn't it?
Yeah, it's what you see on the panel, really. You don't need to do much else to it. Layer it up, quilt around your shapes, and often,
it's done. When you get a panel, there's bits to cut out and layer and piece.
Yes.
But this
or you might need to add borders or... Yeah. But I think that's a nice size as a wall hanging on your Christmas, on your wall.
Lap quilt.
Yeah, back of your sofa.
Yeah.
Just layer it up, quilt around the squares.
Yeah.
Quilt around the borders.
Yeah.
We can put a bundle. I don't know, have we put the bundle together?
We have put the bundle together. So
because we had some of this Star Glow.
Which is perfect.
And it just mirrored the borders, I felt. So I thought that would look lovely on the back.
We have only got a handful of the bundles. So you get your panel which is $15.99, and you get your metre of Lewis and Irene fabric as well to go with.
Do you get the ball?
Only a few. Oh yes, and
And
a
the
little bit
of red for binding.
For binding. Yeah.
Which you wouldn't necessarily have to do. You could just what's the word I'm looking for? Bag it out.
Bag it out.
Yes, bag it out. But yeah, we've put the long quarter of the red in so that you could add binding onto it should you wish.
You've shown us a few methods, haven't you, over
Yes.
time, bagging out. You've shown us the knife edge technique as
Yes.
well. We had that as well. There's various options, aren't there?
And I'm going to show you a slightly different one. I mentioned it on the Ferdinand Fox demonstration about the backing, and I'm going to do the same technique on the runner. So you'll see another way of putting a backing on your quilt.
Very good.
If you want to do it that way.
That's what we like, Jane. And we have got some cheeky offers on today as well. So I'm just pressing some buttons still. There are buttons being pressed. And there will be, during the course of the day as well, the samples going up for sale, because Jane has made these samples so beautifully.
Yes.
I really want this, Jane.
That's gorgeous.
It's just lovely. This lovely quilted, oh, look at it. You've just done this gorgeous meander, haven't you? Here?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
What we'll do, I think, what we'll do is we'll do each bundle and I'll show you the sample and I can talk about the methods I've used. I think that's the best way of doing it.
Yeah.
And then when we get to the table runner, I'll do a quick demonstration with that.
And the table runner and the placemats, these samples, when they go up, they have got Insulbright in them.
Yes.
You know, so we'll talk about that too, because protect your Christmas table, pop your hot dishes onto them.
Yeah.
You're all good.
Yeah.
And yeah, placemats too, which is fabulous.
Yeah. We'll do that. So shall we do the stocking first? Or do you want to go through well, let's do the stocking first.
Jane,
and then we
there's
can.
just so much.
Yes.
How do we choose?
There's so many lovely things. Now,
yeah. And let's go overhead and let's let Jane show you
let's
some
get
lovely things.
the sample down first.
Let's
do that. So we've got the stocking and it's beautiful. And I've done mine. I've used all the panels, so it's double-sided.
Marvellous.
Okay. You could, should you wish. Now the bundle comes with the panel, half a metre of the Yuletide red stars, and you'll get a metre of the H630. Now I've only got half a metre here because I took half metre with me.
You did.
Thinking I could do a little bit of manoeuvring and get it out of a half metre. But the stocking is actually wider than I realised.
Great, loads of room for toys.
Beautiful.
Or boxes for shoes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or
You're going to get
handbags, Jane.
you're going to get loads of stuff in there.
All these things that I'd quite like. I hope my husband's watching. Get me one of these. Fill it with all those.
Fill it with all the
things.
beautiful things. So you get a few extra bits on this panel, which I thought was rather nice. It's a yard panel, I think, isn't it, Gemma?
It is. It's massive.
So you've got the option here of two stockings.
Yeah.
They're mirror image, so you can do what I did and put it together to make one. Or you could back it with another fabric and have two stockings, because they've actually given you the hanging loop, which I've done there, twice.
Oh, fabulous.
So you have that option. And not only that, but you have all of these beautiful images.
Nice.
So you could make a little bag. You could cut them out and plique them onto the front of a bag. There's lots of, little extra bits here. Yeah, cushion edges. You've got that star border there on the bottom here.
It's the panel that keeps on giving, actually. I hadn't noticed.
You could cut that and you could put that as an edge on the back of a cushion or the front, just a stripe down the middle, making it quite modern.
Else and make yourself a big bag handle if you're turning parts into a bag.
There's lots on this panel, and there's so much you could do with just that there. That could be cut out and appliqued or made into the front of a cushion or a bag or wherever your imagination takes you.
You really could.
Now, in your bundle, as I say, you'll get a metre of the H630. Yes. You get half a metre of the red. Now, we'd put half a metre of the red in because, one, keeping the cost down, and two, you might not want to use it for the backing or the lining. You might want to use
coordinating items
plain.
to go with, or
But what I've done is I used my stocking panel as a pattern, and I've done a part lining because you wouldn't get the two pieces from a half metre. Okay. So my lining, and I'm going to turn it through and show you, comes to about there. Okay. Now I've left it open, but you could sew it up because you might want to put something in it that you might not necessarily want to fill the toe.
Okay.
You might want it to go all the way down to the toe. You could stuff the toe and then...
There's always options.
Always things, but I'll just show you. That is my lining. That's how I've done it. So I use the pattern of the stocking.
Like a trouser leg, Jane.
Yeah. To cut it out.
Lovely.
It's open at the bottom, but there's nothing to stop you sewing that up.
Nope.
And then all your gifts would come to there and you wouldn't have to worry about filling that part up. But I just put it right sides together when I came to sew it. I put right sides together on each panel, sewed it onto there. These are the panels right sides together then. Yep. So I've got the both stocking panels right sides together and these right sides together, and then I sew all the way around.
Okay.
I have hemmed that. I hemmed that before I put it right sides together.
Like a trouser leg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Fabulous.
Stuffed the lining in, made sure it was all pressed and rolled down, and then I've just sewn. I did put the handle in when I was sewing it together, put that in, sandwiched that in when I was just putting the lining on. I quilted it before I put the lining on, so I'd quilted my panels just with the H630 on the back of it. I used the H630 because it's got that adhesive, so I ironed the panels onto that.
Lovely quilting, Jane.
I've straight lined, followed these lines here, and then I followed these lines here with a gold coloured thread, not an actual gold thread, but a gold coloured thread, so it gives it that sort of quilted, it is give it a quilted effect.
I don't know that we need to look close up, Jane. I just think what you've done here is quite simplistic when you point it all out, but it just looks so effective. Look at that.
So it's quilted, followed the lines, you've got lovely lines here to follow. So I've quilted in a cross hatch through there, quilted along these lines here.
Yeah.
I did the same for the heel, just followed the pattern in there, followed those lines around, and the same in the toe.
Nice.
So
I've
that's
got a pair of boots with this quilting effect on them, so it looks really effective.
When I was putting them together, I just made sure that they lined up when I was putting it together. And then this bit here, I just did a filigree. I just followed it. I did like a cream, the same colour I'd used for this gold colour here. Yeah. This creamy colour, gold colour. I just did a filigree.
Lovely.
You could have more fun with it. You could go to town and you could quilt around the poinsettia shapes, and you could do a bit of beading in here.
Oh, you so could do some beading.
You know, and the same, you could really embellish this quite nicely with a bit of sparkle and other things.
But it looks suitably beautiful even without.
Yeah.
How nice to have the option, Jane.
There's lots of things you can do with it. I mean, a panel is just your starting point, really. You can really go to town with them. So as I say, you've got enough to make either 2 stockings with a plain backing. Yeah. You could order yourself another ½ metre of the red and have the red on the back, because that sort of mirrors this part here. Or you can put the 2 panels together, you know, and make one.
And I am very aware that we have limited stock of the Lewis and Irene fabrics, and we've used a lot of it in our bundles today. But we do also have some rather stunning fabrics from Macawa by the ½ metre.
Yeah,
so
you can see these
here. If you are
here.
looking and thinking, oh, the Lewis and Irene's gone, and I want to perhaps, you know, like you say, back your stocking with something different or do a lining.
We've got the Macawa Red Star there.
Lovely.
Which would look lovely as a lining inside the stocking.
It goes with the poinsettia because there's different tones of red in that panel, but the red in the poinsettia looks really nice with that.
But it wouldn't look out of place on the back of that stocking.
Not at all.
So if you're going to have them just as sort of decorative items on your fireplace, you know, on the fireplace either end, you wouldn't necessarily be bothered about how the back looked so much. No. You know, but if you're giving them as a gift, you might want to do it just as one panel together. So that's the stocking panel and a bit of how I put it together.
Marvellous.
There are a few instructions on the panel about making the strap part, but there's no other instructions about how to put the stocking together.
Okay.
Because some panels come with them.
Rundown,
yeah, I think, you know, you'll be able to look back at that and
if anyone
hopefully
has any
I've made
questions,
sense.
Jane, they can always contact you, can't they?
Yes.
Ask a little question.
On info at, and I'll do my best to advise you.
Always.
So we've got the bunting panel next. The bunting panel comes with 16 flags.
16?
Yep.
Crikey bobs.
And then again, you've got this little extra bit here of these gold stars, which you could use for edging for something.
Yeah.
Which would be rather pretty.
Beautiful.
We put in, because it's a 60 centimetre panel, gosh, I can't get my words out, we've put in 60 centimetres of the green, and 5 metres of green bias tape.
We have.
I backed.
We need to see this, because this is hanging behind us. For anyone who missed it earlier, perhaps you're just joining us. Look at our set today. It's so festive. But this is the beautiful bunting made up. You backed it, Jane.
I backed it with the green.
Nice.
You don't have to if you haven't got the space for quite a wide piece. It's something like 4 something. That's why you've got a 5 metre piece in there. Yeah. I just left an inch between the flags. You could leave a longer gap if you wish to. You could back it. You could do 8 panels, back it with a panel.
Yeah, if you're hanging it somewhere where it's going to be seen from both sides, maybe it's going across a window or to partition a room, like people put them across the ceiling, don't they? And then you can see both sides. You might want the print on both sides. Yeah. Similarly, if it's going to go flat against a wall with no breeze, calico on the back is your friend.
Absolutely.
You know, or a plain, something like that. Yeah. It really depends on what you're using it for, doesn't it?
If you were having it and you wanted to do the 16, but like Gemma said, you were having it in a partition or somewhere where it's going to be both sides, there's nothing to stop you alternating it. So you have a pattern and then one with the green and then the next pattern, so that on the other side it would be pattern, plain, pattern. Well, not plain, but gold stars. What I did, we've given you a 60 centimetre piece because it's the same size as the panel. And what I did, which was rather a cheaty way of doing it, but it's very quick.
I love a cheaty way, Jane.
Is I put the 2 pieces of fabric together.
Yeah.
And I sewed along the line.
Fabulous.
Now, before I sewed along the line, I put it up against the light so I could mark on the back where the line for the cream one was.
You're not going to see
There's
that
2
through
cream
so well.
ones and you can't see the line.
Amazing. So you just sewed
literally
down the 2 long sides and left the top open?
And left the top open.
Yeah.
And then cut 1/4 inch either side of the sewn line and cut along the top of the mark.
This is why we love you, Jane. Such a little treat.
It's a little bit wasteful of your fabric, but you get your full flag. Whereas if you spent your time cutting around the line of the flag, you're going to lose 1/4 inch of your flag.
Yeah.
Well, 1/2 inch because 1/4 inch either side. So I just did that because I thought that's a nice quick way of doing it.
Really good.
And then, as I say, you get your bias tape and it's a question then of just putting your flag in between there, folding it over and then sewing along the line. Can we just go close up for a second and I'll show you how I
making bunting, Jane.
Finish off the end of my tape, start and finish it.
Yes, of course.
So I've got my bias tape, I open it out and I fold it into the middle into a triangle, like so. You can see that. I then fold that where the crease is there. I fold that down. Yeah. You see that?
Yeah.
And then I fold the edges back in and then I fold it in half.
Ooh.
And that gives me a nice flat edge. And then I sew down there and then carry on sewing.
I feel mine's a chunkier monkey version than that. That's really smart, Jane.
It just gives you that neatness, I think. It just folds everything in.
Yeah.
And makes it nice. If you want to have a point on it, you can leave it folded like that at that point and then fold it in half and then sew down. Smart. It just folds everything in, keeps all the edges in and gives it a nice clean edge.
Fabulous.
Prevents fraying.
Fabulous.
So that's what I did with the binding.
I love a top tip, Jane.
Bunting. Yes, where we try to help where we can.
That's good. That's what we like. So we have viewers, Jane. There are people watching and chatting to us. So that's
lovely.
Really
that's
lovely.
Nice.
Auntie Lizzie says that your voice is a lower tone, Jane.
Yes, I think that's right.
She also says you could do those phone calls.
There's always
I like to think more she could do the Marks and Spencer's advert.
Yes.
Rather than those phone calls. But we'll leave that one there.
It's not just any bunting, it's Natasha makes bunting.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly that. People are saying good evening to Jimmy because, of course, Jimmy's not from this part of the world.
No, he's in that there Australia.
Absolutely. And yeah, you could go to town quilting. It's so easy. Oh, SJ, I've got someone telling me they love me. I'm going to guess you want to have a little look at that one. That's marvellous.
It's nice to be loved.
It's very nice to be loved, Jane.
Maybe not in the way they are insinuating.
In the morning. There we go. I mean, they might be loving you, Jane. Might not be me, but there we go. Debbie says, good morning, everyone, and the Natasha Makes team. Good morning. Karen's with us as well. Karen from Wigan. Karen
lovely.
Hughes says, morning, girls. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas
Karen.
to you too.
Yes, Merry Christmas.
Anyone who's just joined us and feels like they've fallen into the twilight zone, it's Christmas in July in the crafting world, because you need time to make these things ready for Christmas. And Jane's showing us fabulous panels, brand new in from Lewis and Irene, that are going to make your Christmas makes really, really quick and easy.
Absolutely.
I love this next one, Jane. And this one is the bargain of the day for me.
Really?
Because it's a little panel.
It is.
That delivers a lot.
It does.
I'm going to let you explain. We'll go overhead. You can have a little peep, everybody.
I haven't brought the wadding in.
Oh.
Because I'm the Ditsy Dora this morning.
All right. I love Ditsy Dora. That's a great description. Dozy Doris was what my dad used to call me. Come on. Ditsy Dora's much nicer.
So we've got the panel. We've got 1/2 metre of the cream star.
Yes.
Yuletide cream star, and we'll have 1/2 metre of H630 with this.
Okay.
No, not H630.
Not H630.
Insulbright.
Now, Insulbright. Jane, tell us about Insulbright.
Insulbright, and I don't know why I didn't bring the sample in, and we haven't got any in here. Insulbright is a wadding with a metallic inside, sandwiched between.
Give it a movement near your mic.
Can you hear it? It's got a bit of a crinkle to it.
Sorry, I just find that noise really satisfying. So
it is very.
is
it ASM or something? I can't remember.
ASMR.
ASMR.
That's what the kids say, isn't it? They do this thing where they go.
Yeah.
Well, they whisper.
Whisper.
Really quickly.
Yeah. Yes. A bit.
Anyway, bit of that.
Yes.
This is our version of ASMR.
Yeah.
It's that lovely noise.
Insulbright with this lovely crinkle. It's got a silver foil lining between two layers of polyester wadding, basically. Yes. And what it does is it protects. Mm-hmm. It keeps warm or it keeps cool, depending on what is next to it. So it's great for lunch bags and things like that. Yep. But also for your placemats and your table runners, because if you put something hot on it, it will prevent the heat going through. Yes. Now, Insulbright do recommend that you put another layer of cotton or cotton polyester wadding underneath. Not polyester, because polyester tends to pull the heat as well. Yeah. But the cotton poly or your cotton wadding, or even your wool wadding, if you've really got some leftover pieces of wool wadding, and it just takes any condensation away. Yeah. So
it's not essential.
It's not. These have just got Insulbright in. In my table runner, I put a layer of 80/20 on that as well, and I'll just talk about how I did that later. I have just literally backed these with some calico, just because I only took 1/2 metre again, not really thinking about what I was doing, and I put that on the back of the table runner. You can see here that I have done my method that I'm going to talk about later to put the backing on. Rather than bagging it, I've done this method, and I'll go through this in a minute. These just need sewing up. But you get 6 placemats from here. You could bind them. You could add extra border onto them if you wanted to make them bigger, because they come out at, let's just measure it.
Oh yes, let's.
Each mat comes out at 11 by 8 inches. So not massive, but they're nice. They're good enough to get your plate on.
Yeah.
And keep them nice and it's very festive.
It's so nice to be able to
just to have them
pop all your individual dishes on those.
Yeah, they're beautiful, and they've all got the same motif on. Beautiful leaping stags with the Christmas tree and the holly wreath, and a little bit of Christmas roses and mistletoe in the corners. Just a really pretty panel, and a nice design.
And so nice to have everything matching, Jane.
Yes.
And in a real classic Christmas look as well.
Yes, it's very traditional.
But at the same time has a lovely contemporary feel to it.
Yes, on the black background. Yes. It just gives it,
I love the reindeer and cartoony elements, isn't it?
Yeah.
Beautiful.
It's lovely. So that's what you get for the placemat panel. So there's 6 on there, and you would get your 6 placemat panel, and you will get 1/2 metre of the cream and 1/2 metre of Insol Bright in that bundle.
Excellent.
And then we come to the table runner. And that is the table runner. Now the panel for the table runner actually has 2 panels on it.
It does.
So you've got the option here of making a really long one, because you could join them both together.
Use it as a bed runner then, couldn't you?
Yeah.
If it was doubled.
Or
Christmas
you make
bunting
one
and
for
a bed
you.
runner.
Yeah, nice. Make
Very
one for
nice.
you and make one as a gift.
You could. Or make one and sell one.
Yes.
We don't mind.
I'm pretty sure Lewis and Irene mind.
Commercial
No.
stuff on theirs.
So we have put, have we only put
to check.
1/2 metre? We've put a 1/2 metre of the cream in with this.
Yes.
And a metre of the Insol Bright. Put a metre of Insol Brighting, so you've got it enough for the 2.
Yes.
1/2 metre will do 1 backing on your table runner, and that's what I've used, and I'm going to demonstrate with some calico. So you might want to have the red Yuletide star, or some of the Macawa Yuletide star. We've got Macawa's spot as well here with it's a very, very tiny dot, and I don't, if we go close up on this, I think it might look better.
Best.
It's a gold metallic.
It's a pin, it's literally a pin dot.
And it's a very irregular dot, which gives a lovely sort of effect to it, I think.
Jane, we have 3 colours of
We
pin
do.
dots, and I just think these are really brilliant stash staples because they've got a
They're great
lovely
blender
metallic.
fabrics. I mean, they don't have to be for Christmas.
Nope.
They can be used in any project. We've got the cream with the gold, which is lovely. And we've also got, it's not
Charcoal,
quite
isn't
black,
it?
it's charcoal, but it's almost black. And that's got the gold on it. We've also got, in that charcoal, we've got this lovely filigree pattern, which is rather lush. I could see that as bag linings. You could make napkins with this as well. Can you imagine napkins made from this fabric?
I was just thinking napkin cutlery rolls as well, Jane,
Yeah.
to match all your bits and bobs here.
Yeah,
you know.
because you did a lovely cutlery roll
did.
pattern, didn't
Yeah.
you? Which
So
would be great as, you know, when you're having buffets and everybody's sitting with things on their knees.
The napkin cutlery roll, you don't have any wadding or anything to that. It literally is a make where you can pop the cutlery in, fold and roll it. A little bit like a makeup brush roll or a paintbrush roll. So you have it all rolled in with a little ribbon tied up. So if you're having a buffet, you've got everything laid out, you've already got people's cutlery in bundles. So all they've got to do is grab one of those and a plate and get all their bits and bobs. And then when they go to sit down, they can pull the ribbon and they can fold it out and it lays flat. So it ends up being a napkin on your lap.
Yeah.
So for events where you're not necessarily going to have table space for everybody, the napkin goes on the lap, they pull the cutlery out and they've got everything they need.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a really, 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 really simple idea.
Yeah.
But I dreamt it up during the pandemic
Yes.
when you were allowed to have people visit outside. And I thought, well, if I make sure that we've cleaned all the cutlery and then they go into those and they're rolled up, then everyone knows that no one's been breathing on the cutlery.
Yeah,
and
they've got
everyone
their
went
own.
up one at a time to sort of, you know, the table and then sat in their separate areas in the garden. I mean, what weird times.
Yes.
But perfect for Christmas parties when there's lots of people around and it's busy.
Absolutely, yeah.
Keeps
Wonderful.
everything nice and clean and all together.
We've
also
also
people saying, I haven't got a spoon. Everyone's got one of everything.
Yes,
in a
it's
roll.
all in a roll. If you've got the roll, you've got everything you need.
Absolutely.
We've also got these Macawa stars, and we've got, if we go close up on that,
Oh,
Gemma,
we
again.
totally can. There we go. Takes its time, Jane.
It does.
Just takes a minute.
We've got the red with the gold stars, we've got cream with gold stars, and then we've got white with silver, which is lovely.
Lovely.
Again,
Beautiful.
they'd make great backings, bag linings, cushion, and for your patchwork as well, because they're little ditsies, so they'd go in with your patchwork for your Christmas makes too. You could make bunting, couldn't you, just with the 3 stars. Really pretty, really pretty. There's some lovely ones there. They're great blenders for any time, but they do work very well with your Christmas makes.
Yeah, they really
and
do.
I think if we don't, I think the green's all been allocated, hasn't it, for the bunting?
Yeah, I think we might actually have sold out of quite a few of the Lewis and Irene's by
Yeah.
half metre now.
There is a bit. I did think there might be a bit of cream and there might be a bit of red, but I might be
By the
mistaken.
skin of its teeth. I feel there may be, but then we've had orders come through, Jane, so it
Yes.
might have gone. No, I shall check
may have
stock
gone.
in a moment. Kirsty says, good morning, ladies. I always have good intentions to make items for Christmas and fail dismally, but this year I really must start now. Do you know, and it's the best thing you'll ever do.
Yes, you'll
Best
be
thing
so
you'll ever
grateful
do.
for doing it.
Yeah. Jane, my parents made a funny discovery the other day. They, you know, when there's a cupboard that just gets used and forgotten about, and there's all manner of weird.
We've all got those
things in the
cupboards, haven't we? Yeah.
And my dad's there going, something's leaked in this cupboard, so he has to get everything out. And he's cleaning the cupboard, and I'm there laughing at him, you know, as he's doing this. And there's things that have got a bit of sticky
Says the
on
lady
them.
that just recently did hers and got her husband to paint inside her
Understairs cupboard.
Yes, that's
that
now all
was an
beautiful.
Experience. Yeah, okay. That's a different story altogether. But yeah, this kitchen cupboard, they're pulling items out, and one of the items they pulled out was a little black notebook. And my mum's going, well, what is all this rubbish? She's throwing instructions for toasters. They've had 2 toasters ago.
Yes,
all of that
we've
away.
all got those, yeah.
And the little black book had got just a few bits and bobs in it to do with my dad's pigeons when he had them. Threw those out. And then she flips to the back, and Dad's going, well, it's yours, this. Mum said, that's not my handwriting. It was mine. From 1997, when I was 16. And it's got in it, well, it's got my wages of what I'd earned in my job in each shift.
Lovely.
But it had got a separate list with the date of something or other in August of me going Christmas shopping.
Oh,
and what I was
wow.
going to buy each person. And I'd crossed off if I found them. And I've written things like, you know, from Boots, from Next, or from wherever else.
Yeah.
And I've gone shopping in August and done my Christmas shopping.
Well, that was very organised of you.
I know. I don't know what happened in the world. Clearly, I don't do this anymore. But I do try throughout the year if I see things to buy them for people.
Yeah,
and
I
then
do
get to
that.
Christmas and I've got 8 things for one person and nothing for someone else.
I'm exactly the same. If I see something that I think someone will like, I will buy it when I see it. Because you can guarantee you'll never see it again. Or you'll have forgotten where you saw it.
But on the years where I've made for people early enough, and on the years where I've bought for people early enough, I've had a much nicer experience of Christmas.
Yes.
Because I'm not stressed and wrapping and shopping and, you know, all of that. If you get it done early, it's actually really liberating. And it's spread the cost as well, which is always good.
Yeah.
Jane, another thing we haven't mentioned though about the lead up to Christmas is Advent.
Oh yes, we've got some lovely Advent calendars.
We do indeed. So the Natasha Makes Advent calendars. This is going to kind of be a last call for purchasing your Advent calendars. Yeah. How many of you have had an Advent calendar before? And I know a lot of you have already placed your orders. We have sold probably more than we sold in total last year already.
Yes.
Which is great. But Natasha knows that there were people that were disappointed last year who couldn't get one. So she's having a final, like, this is what we can offer.
Yeah.
But we do need to close it off relatively soon because we need to finalise our numbers, make sure all of those are packed up and ready to go.
Yes.
In November. That sounds bonkers, but a lot of the product we put in are things that are really difficult for us to come by. You'll find there's been, well, previous years we've had amazing haberdashery items, there's been tools, there's been beautiful fabric, there's been little project instructions maybe. We've had labels and stickers and all sorts of beautiful things.
Lovely things, and all individually wrapped, so they're not like in a set size cardboard thing where you open the door and there's a little thing in there. They're all individually wrapped, so they come in a nice box. Exactly. And you open a little parcel each day, which is lovely.
And I think a lot of you know Natasha's really eco-minded, so when we send these out, you're not getting it in something all like Christmassy paper or anything like that. It's generally in a brown cardboard box with little brown paper packages inside.
Yes.
Not tied up with string.
No.
No time for tying up with strings, but they are brown paper packages.
Yes. And
each one will be labelled with Advent. Natasha Makes Advent Day 1, Day 2, Day 3. So having a little rummage through and finding each one is just a joy, really.
Yeah, it's really nice.
It is a joy.
Really
and
lovely.
We do get fabulous feedback from people loving those. So those are back up and available today. But not for too much longer, so grab those quickly. Another thing that we do, and that's not a money-making project, the Natasha Makes Advent calendar, it has to be said, it's a huge discount on the value of the content.
Yeah.
It's something Natasha does as her thank you to you, the viewers, for supporting us really, because if you don't purchase from us through the year, then we wouldn't be here.
It's
so
true.
That's her chance to give back. Also, we have the 12 Days of Christmas.
Yes, we do.
The 12 Days of Christmas was something that was dreamt up by one of the viewers, actually. The viewers saying, what on earth do I do with myself between Christmas and New Year when all the chaos is over? It's like a project box, really, isn't it? Where
Yes.
you get a few projects in a box, and again, this is a much loved project
Yeah.
box. It really is. Again, not many of those available because we do have to put a limit on it. It's time for us to be able to create them and get them and send them out to you. So both of those products are there today. I've mentioned it. If I don't mention it and then we get people that are sad, I feel bad.
Yes.
But
Yes.
I've mentioned it.
Get it while you can.
Natasha was here on Friday actually with me. I don't know whether anyone saw, but it was
Yes.
Pay It Forward Day. So it is the beginning of the month.
He's
If you
still
did wish-
here,
Yeah?
little,
Oh,
little
no.
pay it forward cat toy. Look at him.
There's one in Cornwall as well.
Got catnip
Mortimer
in.
came in the other day. He'd been off for I don't know how long, but he came home and he fell asleep with his head on it like. Tash, I don't think he likes it. He's completely zonked, and I know that's the point.
That's a good point, yes.
That's the
The
catnip
catnip.
working.
It's got catnip in it.
Yes.
So you could make these with a young person because they're very
You could.
simple. You could make them and give them to the to the Cats Protection League
Yeah, you could.
as a donation.
Or gift them to people who've got a cat.
Give them to somebody you know who has a cat.
Or
Make
make
them
to
for your
sell.
own.
You know, make to sell and
Yeah.
then, pop those. Maybe you want to make to sell and then put the money into a cat charity, whatever
Yeah.
you want to do. The Pay It Forward is there so that you can have a make that is accessible and affordable. That was last month's Pay It Forward, which is the one that Natasha demoed on Friday, and she launched a new one, the Sheepy Treat, which is a decorative cuddly sheep that's for display, just to cheer someone up if you feel that they need something really cute that they can receive and know that they're loved, and pop it on a shelf and look at
Yeah,
it.
lovely idea.
Really lovely idea. So that is the latest one. I think I've told everybody things that they might not know.
Yeah.
It's important.
Yes, to
Very
remember all these
important.
things.
Really important. There might be some bolt ends later as well. That's something else. We have a lot of activity on YouTube today,
Lovely.
saying that in people's homes, Father Christmas leaves an orange in the toe of the stocking.
Yes.
Or maybe some sweets as well. Yes, true. Now,
Yes.
actually, the other thing about this one as well is you could make a contrast toe out of a plain or whatever, because no one sees that foot part, do they?
No.
So it seems a waste to use your nice fabric in there.
So you could add a bit on. Yes.
You could.
You could.
Leslie says, I was expecting the calendar quilt block of the month. Have I got the wrong date? It's generally on the second week of the month. Generally. Occasionally it moves ever so slightly, doesn't it?
It does,
but
yeah.
not this week. So fret you
Yeah,
not.
we'll be here next week.
We will. So, yes. There we go.
Yeah. So table runner, very simple. As I say, there's two panels on each. There's two table runners on each panel.
Yes.
You will get a metre of Insol Bright. Again, I only took a metre, so I had enough to do the table runner, this table runner, and the placemats.
Yep.
So this one, I just put some 80/20 on the back of it.
Yep.
Um,
Did you need Insol Bright for your demo today, or are you going to
I just think we'll just do it with
That's fine.
with this.
Because otherwise,
Yeah,
I can skedaddle out
we
the
can
studio
skedaddle out.
if need
This
be.
one, I have put Insol Bright in it and 80/20. I use spray adhesive to spray my Insol Bright to my my 80/20.
Yeah.
And then I use spray adhesive to spray the front onto it.
Okay.
I would probably do a bit more quilting on this. I might do a crosshatch on there, or a filigree.
That'd be nice.
I think I have quilted around the circle, but looking at it now, it's still a bit loose here, so I think maybe it would benefit from a bit more quilting. I quilted around the edge. Now, I quilted around the outside circle, and the panels here, around the cream panels, and around the inside of this panel, before I put the backing on.
Okay.
And I put the backing on, I bagged this one out,
Nice.
and then quilted again around the outside edge and around the inside of the circle,
Okay.
just to hold, because I wanted to be sure I held those layers of wadding together
Yeah.
before I put the backing on. So to bag it out the way I've done it with this one, I simply put the layer of backing fabric I cut my wadding, my panel and my backing fabric all to the same size. I put my panel onto the wadding.
Okay.
And then I put my backing fabric right side down onto the panel. And then sewed all the way around the edge, leaving about a 3-inch gap on one of the long sides. And then I pulled it through. I trimmed the corners off before I pulled it through, just so I could got a nicer, sharper corner.
Yeah.
Pulled it through, trimmed the wadding back, folded this under, folded my backing fabric under, and then I sewed about 1/8 of an inch all the way around, quilted around the edge. And that sews up that gap.
And I think you can see on the overhead even the detail that offers. It's simple, Jane, but it just looks
just nice
really,
straight line quilting gives it a nice effect.
But you have got plenty of room, like you say, to play.
Yeah, you can do all sorts of things with this. And also, you've got the option here, and I think it might be quite nice. You could follow these stars, more or less, and do a cross hatch pattern, and then maybe pop a bead in the corner of each one. That would be quite nice. You could embellish a bit more on the front of this. You might want to do a bit of hand quilting on there around the shapes. You've got lots of options on this that you could embellish it or leave it as simple as it is, really.
Lovely idea.
So the other method that I like to use when I've got something, and particularly works nicely on the placemats or something that is like irregular shaped, like when we did Ferdinand Fox, because he was oval. It's very difficult then when you're doing, if you did it to bag it out, it's very difficult to get the shape to stay the same in the seam when if you pulled it through a gap. So this method's quite nice. I've got my panel sprayed with my spray adhesive onto my wadding. We've just got cotton 80/20 wadding in this one.
Right.
I've cut some calico. You could do this with your pattern fabric, it would be fine. I've got some calico and I've cut it to just a little bit more, about 1 inch more than half the width of the panel that I'm doing.
Okay.
So the width of the panel in half, then add an inch. So measure your panel, cut it in half, and then add 1/2 inch. And I said I've done that, and I've cut this wrong. There you go.
Do you need some of the
beauty of live television. Well, actually, what I can do is I can make this smaller.
Jane, I was only just thinking earlier, the number of sample items you have created this week, and I know you've not had to dream it up and design it and everything yourself, but you've had to crack this out quite speedily. I'm impressed.
Normally, I would give it 1 inch.
Okay.
Folded
Are you sure
over.
You don't need more fabric?
No, I think we're okay. We can manage with this. This is 1/4 inch. It's plenty, really. I just like to give it a bit more. So
this is just Jane liking to live dangerously on
live television. Yeah. So where I folded it over, I placed that down first.
Yep.
Onto my backing fabric.
Great.
So you can see that's folded over. As I say, normally I would like to have wider than that, but we'll manage with 1/4 inch for demonstration purposes.
Well, you'll prove that if it can be done with 1/4 inch, then everyone else's inch will be fine.
Yeah.
Oh, Jane. Pam says, yay, I've just ordered an advent calendar. I'm one of the sad ones that missed out in previous years. We don't like people being sad, Pam. I'm very glad that you won't be. That's marvellous.
Just grab the pins. So you can see that I have now got this, the plain one, and it lines up over the top of my backing fabric. Normally you'd see more of that folded over piece, but it lines up over the top. And then I'll just pin this around. So it's right sides together still. It still works that way.
Is this a do as I say, not as I do demo, Jane?
Absolutely.
Oh, we love one of those.
We love one
That's
of
normally
those.
Tasha's job.
Yeah.
Well done, you.
I like to keep it, we make the mistakes so that you don't have to. This will remind you not to do it this way.
Nope. Watch me struggle to understand why it's very important you cut it out correctly. It's all right, Jane.
It's okay.
We love a bit of real. That's what we do here. Warts and all sewing, isn't it?
Absolutely. As we say, we make the mistakes so you don't have to.
We do. We totally do.
So just pinning that round
I have got the iron on now, Jane, if you do need to press that little seam.
Lovely, that's fine.
I thought I'd better quickly whip that on.
I'm going to put a pin in there just to hold it together while I sew it, just to hold that down. And then I'm just going to I've got the walking foot on the machine because I've got several layers, and I am going to sew 1/4 inch all the way around the panel, so I don't have to leave a turning through gap.
Well,
so we can start at one edge, and go all the way around. Get to the corner, just stop 1/4 inch away from the edge and turn that round. If it's not quite 1/4 inch, you can just undo it and take it back a little bit. So we're sewing over that gap that we've made in the middle with a turned over piece. Again, stopping 1/4 inch from the edge, just turn that round so we've got it. Don't think we need to go quite that fast with the walking foot on.
Calm it down, love.
And I did the same method with the placemats because that's quite a small area to go around, and by the time you've left your turning through gap there's not much space. So I found I find this method a lot quicker, and I think it gives me neater results.
Okay.
And you could do this on your quilt as well. So you could cut 2 pieces. If I was doing it on the back of a quilt, I would probably do 1/2 of the width of my quilt, and 1/3, but still adding that extra inch onto the measurement for the turning for the seam. Just because it's not a good idea to have a seam in the middle of your quilt. Just because
you've said this before about not having a seam in the middle of your quilt.
You tend to fold it in the middle, and so if you've got a seam, that's quite a weak point.
Do you know, this was a real revelation for me, because we talked about backing your projects and backing your quilt, Jane, and you'd said to me before, you know, if you're going to back using more than one piece of fabric, naturally your thought is that you need to put the 2 pieces with the join straight in the middle.
Yes.
And you said don't do that, because you fold it generally straight down the middle, and that will be a weak point on the quilt.
Yes.
So you've generally, I suppose, if we've done a quilt, you quite often just put a contrast slice down the middle, and have 2 side panels that are the same.
Yeah.
Perhaps a pattern fabric down the middle, and then there's 2 sides plain. Haven't you?
Yeah, I've known people that have duplicated the patch that they've used on the front and had a row of patches down the middle with planes either side. It's just a good way when you've got a fabric that isn't quite wide enough you can just put that panel in the middle, and it makes it look like it was designed to be like that, but it also stops that having the seam down the middle, which is, as I say, is a weak point where you would fold it generally.
Whereas your patches are going to be, you know, lots of pieces, and there's a lot of stability there.
And you could always, if you're doing patches, you could always put an iron-on interfacing on the back of those to protect the patching and just to give it a bit more strength.
Nice.
So I just trim the corners off, obviously making sure I don't trim through the corners through the stitching, but it just it reduces some of the bulk.
That would make you a sweary Mary if you did
that. It certainly would. You'd have to go back to your machine and try and sew it on without trying to fray it and everything. You can, if you wish to, go into your seam and trim the wadding away. Just pull the wadding up and just trim that off all the way around. I'm not going to do that now because it'll just be like watching paint dry. But that's what you can do. You can do that. It just reduces that reduces that bulk.
Yeah.
And then you'll turn it through this gap. And it's a bit like pulling your pillows through your pillowcase. You'll poke your corners out. You can use your pokey tool.
Yeah. In fact, if you had your advent calendar, some of you had a fang.
Yeah, if you've got your purple fangs, they're brilliant for poking through.
Pink fang,
Yes, they're not necessarily purple.
Nope. Natasha makes teal ones.
Yes.
And some pink ones, which of course Natasha loves pink.
Yes, we do. We love pink in this.
We had all sorts of
Just poking the corners through.
Great.
I am using my scissors, but I'm being very careful not to poke it through the fabric, because we've all done that.
I was going to say, as one who has done it, don't use your scissors.
Yeah, no. It's not.
It's so upsetting.
It's not advisable, she says,
Chopstick
doing it.
would be another option. If you haven't got a fang or a turning tool and you need something quick, get a chopstick rather than do this.
Or a knitting needle, actually. Knitting needles are handy.
Again, I've gone through with a knitting needle before, but a chopstick is a blunter end, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Just
a big blunt knitting needle would be the one.
take your seams and just roll that back, just so that it exposes the seam and you don't fold it through. You can do this.
I've got a beautiful ability to roll a seam.
Yeah. Practice, I think, more than anything. It's not a God-given talent, bless it. It's just because I've done it a lot.
Many, many years.
You can also, use your iron when you're ironing it, because you're going to take it to the ironing board and iron it anyway, just to make sure. But it's just to make sure that you've got no excess fabric in that seam. And then when you bring that flat, where you've got that folded over piece here, you can just sew up that gap, you see, because your hem's already there. So a slip stitch, like you would sew your binding or your hem on a garment, just that sort of stitch, just to close that gap up. And then you can go round to the front of your table runner and you can do your quilting.
Amazing. Look at that, Jane.
So it just gives you a nice crisp edge, and you don't have to worry then that if you've got a folding through gap, you have to make sure that it's all straight and it lines up. Sometimes you get a bit of a wobble in your turning through gap because of the wadding and everything else when you're trying to. And then you can quilt it as you wish. Again, probably if you did around the circle there and around these edges here and inside there, and I would definitely just sew 1/4 of an inch around the edge here, just to give it a nice, almost gives it like a faux binding really, just gives it that raised edge.
Yes.
And that would be really nice. That would be enough. I mean, you could do more. You could do filigree or a pattern, cross-hatch pattern, whatever you wish really. But you've got it bagged through then, and it gives it a nice,
it's a lovely
nice edge.
I do think, Jane, and actually you've got the option, but you could pop some fabulous tassels on
Oh
all
yes,
four
you could put your tassels in, couldn't you?
Yeah.
Because Natasha's got some really nice tassels,
hasn't
she?
Some lovely tassels, but you could pop tassels on the 4 corners, and then it would be nice on the table or on your bed.
Yeah.
Really beautiful. I love it.
So yeah, you can do individual ones. So your panel's got 2 on, so you could make 2 table runners. So you could have one on your sideboard, one on your table at Christmas. Or you could give one to a friend. You could put the 2 together if you've got a really long table.
Yeah.
Make 2. To make a really long one, like Gemma said, you can make it into a bed runner.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
you could add more to the edge, more borders on it, make it longer.
Yeah.
There's lots of things you can do with it.
Definitely.
If your table's small and this is too long, I mean, I think it's about 40.
Well, I don't mind a little bit hanging over the edge though, Jane.
42. There's nothing to stop you
No.
trimming it down to that size and making it like so.
And then you've got fabulous fabric to use for something else.
Yeah, well, you could use these bits as placemats, coasters. Get 3 squares from that, wouldn't you? And make nice coasters. So there's all sorts of options there with that panel. Lots of things. So some really lovely, quick Christmassy makes, I think.
Yeah. Fabulous, Jane. You've enjoyed making these as well.
I have.
Jane had actually got a different show prep for today, so she's now got 3 weeks with the shows.
It's really nice to be so organised.
So the plan is to do the show that will be a fortnight's time today, and then the calendar quilt next week.
Yes.
And then this arrived. Jane went, and she had them all in her arms, and she went, I'll do this for next week. We were like,
We're
really?
going to do Christmas in
Really?
July.
You've prepped Monday's show? And she said, it's fine, we'll do this next week. And we both looked at each other, Tash and I, and went, okay, Jane, this is what we'll do then. So we've brought in this so that you get to see it straight away because it has just landed.
It came in, didn't it, on Tuesday last week?
Was it Tuesday or Wednesday? It might have been Wednesday.
Might have even been Wednesday, yeah.
Because you literally grabbed it and skedaddled off.
I think it was Tuesday because I asked Lucy to cut all the panels up for me, bless her.
Yeah.
And she just stood there and chopped all these bolts up into
But we've brought
pieces.
it square as quickly as we can for you because we know as makers that it is brilliant to get ahead and
get it
start
done
these
and do it.
But also, these panels, because they're so easy and so detailed and so beautiful, they sell out.
Yes, they
like
do.
it or
They don't
not,
last
you know,
long.
we've had bunting panels, we've had these kind of project panels from Lewis and Irene before, and they go really quickly because they are simple but produce something that just looks really effective and really impressive. So we've brought it to you straight away. And then Jane has just had to skedaddle her makes around a little bit.
It's nice though to have all those shows prepped, ready to go, which is.
It is.
It's nice to be a little bit in front, which is
all,
lovely.
We all know that it's partly because you just wanted to make them because
because I just like Christmas.
Twitch. The eye did a little twitch. Jane has been known before now to see a panel out and about and go, oh, we're going to be getting that one in.
Yeah.
Like if we've been at a show or whatever, and they're like, can I have one sooner so I can get cracking? We've spoken to suppliers before and said, can you get it to us quicker so she can make it before the show?
Make the samples up.
Gets her hands
I think
on
it's
them,
nice for people to see the samples made up. It gives a better visual, doesn't it, than just seeing it flat and you think, oh, what am I going to do with that? I think sometimes, particularly if you're new to it all and it's not, second nature for you. It's nice to see how they come together and what they look like finished.
Yeah, exactly. And it means you get to play.
I get to play with them.
Because she loves it.
There's a method to my madness.
There is. Throughout the day today, things will be appearing on the website. We will have the sample items from today's show once they're photographed and weighed going on to sample sale.
Yes.
So keep an eye out.
Yes, so if you really don't think you've got time to make them, buy them.
You haven't written on the back of these, have you?
Tell everybody you made them, it's fine.
These aren't marked or written on, which you may see as a good thing. So you can pass it off as your own work should you wish. There's your Christmas present sorted. Alternatively, if you do want Jane to write on the back, she will happily write you a little note on the back. Just pop something on your order to say, can you please write, made by Jane or to so-and-so with love Jane or whatever. She will write it for you.
That.
She does not mind.
I don't mind.
She will do
why you would want that, I don't know, but there you go.
Because we love you, Jane, that's why. So those will be available, but there will also be some bolt ends coming up. So keep your eyes peeled and sharply pointed at the website.
We've got some nice boutiques.
Yes.
So if you like your boutiques and your nice, nice chunk of boutique, 3 metres or more in some of them. Some of them are a bit less.
I love a boutique.
But there's some really lovely ones there.
festival gear as well. Like I make little tops for Megan, little halter neck tops and things.
Yes.
And batiks are perfect for that.
Yeah,
they
they're
just
really
look
nice,
great for
yeah.
those makes and dresses and things.
Yeah.
Elizabeth says, is Lucy new? Yes, Lucy is with us for the next month or so. She's just finished her GCSEs and she's doing a bit of work with us through the summer. Chris says, oh dear, I missed you. Busy morning. In and out. We'll have to watch later. Looks great. Yes, Chris. However, get cracking. Have a look. Have a look at the
Christmas
website.
makes.
If you see anything you like, it's,
Yeah.
now is the time. Strike while the iron is hot. Julia says about the advent calendar and Pam getting, which says last year's was great. I really hope there's some left. Julia, there are, but move quickly because we have to close it off so that we can make sure we're getting the right amount of stock to fulfil the orders.
Yes.
And then it's a really, really long task. This is why we've got Lucy with us for the summer, to package all the little items up and label them, and then we can get them all ready, stacked up,
Ready to
come
go.
across. So you get them before December. Leslie Reynolds just says she loves Christmas. I mean, you and me both love.
We do.
Absolutely.
We do.
But yes, lovely to have you all with us. Natasha will be around tomorrow. Tomorrow, she's up to all sorts. Tomorrow she's making something special, and I don't know whether she's shown it on social for me to say yet.
No, but it's rather lovely.
But she's calling it a Christmas make, something you could make as a Christmas gift. But it is really an all-rounder. You could make this any time of year. It's going to be another favourite, one of her simple and beautiful items. Wednesday, however, she has put images on social. I can tell you we have gorgeous new wintry flannels.
Oh.
I'm aggrieved to say Christmas because...
No, because it's winter
they
in
work.
Bluebell Wood.
Right, winter in Bluebell Wood.
If you know the Lewis and Irene collections, you'll know that they've done Bluebell Wood. Well, this is winter in Bluebell Wood. So it's snow hares and reindeer and Christmassy,
but
sort of.
Not quilting
but winter,
cottons.
no.
Not quilting cottons. This
Brush
time they
cotton.
are flannel, which we all know as a beautiful brushed cotton, a lovely snuggly brushed cotton. She is bringing back a previous make that's been a favourite. Emily's been snuggling under it. If you want to see an absolutely adorable picture.
Oh my gosh, she looks so scrummy under that.
She's such a munch, she really is. So she'll be here on Wednesday doing that. There's loads for everyone to see.
Yes.
If you missed the Pay It Forward on Friday, you've got that to catch up on too. Do not forget our shows are available on Facebook, on YouTube, on our website to view back. You can catch them up if you need to.
It's always nice to look back on them.
Yes.
And if you've bought a kit as well, it's always handy to have that
the demo
to look back on, because the instructions are there, and we do nice comprehensive instructions with lots of detail in. But there might be something that we might have mentioned in the demonstration, that just a little extra hint or tip that will help you. So it's
true.
nice to have the demonstration to look back on as well.
It really is. And then you can watch and make. Poor Chris is ever so cross.
Oh no!
You can watch it back. It's okay. Don't be cross. It's all fine. And yes, people saying they're excited about the Advent calendar. They love Christmas. Get your Advent calendar while you can. What I don't want is when we've closed it off for there to be people saying, I really wanted one and I was holding back. That would be really sad.
It would, yeah.
And
you
the
don't
price
want to miss out.
is there, reduced. You know, she's done your introductory price and she's kept the introductory price, which is very nice of her.
Yes.
But yes, I mean, it might be nice for her. She might have forgotten. That it's
Well,
still
yes, there might
price.
be. She might be a bit annoyed with
okay.
herself for that, but never mind.
When she finds out later, she might say, hang on, that's not meant to be there. Take it off. But yes. Oh, Julia said, I had a self-imposed buying ban for July. That lasted well.
Got to the third. That's good. That's 3 days.
Absolutely fine, Julia. Don't you worry. And it doesn't really count if it's an advent calendar, because yes, you're paying now, but you're not receiving it until the end of November. So does it count really? Does it? No. It's all fine. Jane, have you got anything to add?
I don't think so. I think
Calendar
we've
talk
covered
next week. That's what we need to
Oh, yes. We're on September, aren't we, next week? Because we're working 2 months in front of the... I don't even know what the day is.
No, she has no idea.
2 months in front of not the advent calendar, the block of the month calendar quilt. Got advent calendars on the brain. So September. So it's an autumn leaf.
Yeah.
It's a patchwork one. There's a little bit of foundation paper piece in, but only a smidge. Just to give you the taste.
A safe smidge.
Yeah, just to try.
Like the coronation wall hanging
Mm-hmm.
when there was a foundation piece.
Yeah, just a
and
little
I'd
bit.
never done any foundation paper piecing. And daft as you like, that was the piece that came together best for me.
Yes.
Because I was so focused, going, it's FPP, and then it came out and I was like, oh, that's perfect.
Yeah, it works wonderfully. Yeah.
Marvellous. Lovely to have you with us. Please, please, please do check out the website. Thank you for your orders. That is what keeps us here and delivering these shows for you. Natasha will be here tomorrow. We're going to go and pack some orders and all sorts of other stuff.
Yeah.
I tell you, we're busy bees. We really appreciate you and we will see you very, very soon. Take care. Lots of love.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.